Good morning, Ottawa town, Ottawa time. It is 10:20 here in Eastern time, and the date is Saturday, September 9th, 2023. And this is Professor Taj Al Khazin of Carleton University. Our title for this YouTube today, which is the second in our series, and the series is South Sudan on a Hot Tin Roof, and the title is Setting the Record Right. There seems to be a little bit of confusion about a few things, and I thought I will address them. The first one, Professor Taj welcomes cabinet decision that excludes dredging, which is correct. Anything circulating other than that is false, is fabricated. And we are referring to the cleaning, dredging of Bahar Naam, Bahr al-Ghazal Basin, down to Lake No, all that mess over there. What I would add to the document that I got is that I said, yes, excludes dredging, but after studies. And I want to get away from what I say, which might be biased, to this report. That's a report that was handed to Barnaba Marial, representing the presidency, on Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. 156 pages. Anyone can get it. If you want it in electronic form, I will send it to you. You need to have Dropbox because it's quite a big volume in its e-form. And those who have a copy of that, you need to go to the pages, page 12, Roman, that's XII, page 13, Roman, that is XIII, pages 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37. All those pages which are in this report that was commissioned by His Excellency the President, supervised by Barnaba Marial, I have the photographs of handing it to Barnaba in a large ceremony. All those pages and all that report, they're talking about, at the end of the day, the main thing is studies. Don't touch the Sud without credible feasibility studies. And there are 9 studies, not just social and economic. There are 9 different studies that need to be taken. Any decision outside that is failing the people and failing the president. Because this report was tendered to the Council of Ministers, it was passed by the Council of Ministers, and one of the resolutions of the Council of Ministers is don't do anything until you do feasibility studies. Ask Africano, he was there. And I have a copy of the resolution of the Council of Ministers in the headed paper and signed. So just for the record, I never said dredging, because dredging is changing the channel of the river and draining water out. Where would it go? Do we have plantations over there? It's going to go into the White Nile and up into Sudan and up into Egypt. So whoever wants to cheat the people, please don't use my name. Okay. My second issue is central bank governor. This is September 8th, yesterday, the day before. Central bank governor calls for currency change. And this is the Honorable Johnny Ohisa Damian. Proposed change of the South Sudanese currency to facilitate the government's access to money stashed in household. Is it government's money or people's money? What are you saying? What are you saying, Governor? You want to have access to people's money? With what law? Under which pretext? It is their money. Governor Ohisa made this recommendation in response to queries from National Economic Conference participants regarding the lack of bank savings among majority of South Sudanese citizens. And then when he's questioned, he makes the easiest shortcut, and that's let's change the currency. We don't have a printing press in Juba, so we have got to pay money to print, other than the intrusion into people's lives. Continued depreciation of the South Sudanese pound against the United States US dollar. Michael McWay, who also serves as the government's spokesperson, described this move as advice to individuals holding local currency in their homes, urging them to report to the bank. That's more sensible. That's more, it is a request. It is a request to the people. That's the first step in addressing the issue. With Minister Michael McWay stating that the plan to change the currency was merely a proposal and a very, very ill-advised proposal. But then Ohisa goes, the only solution to retrieve this money from household is to change the currency. That's not correct. That if I were President Salva Kiir, I will fire you right away just for that statement. Once the currency is changed, everyone will deposit their money in the bank. Goodness gracious. That way you will never get to the US dollars. And that way you are encouraging the people right now after this statement to go out into the market and exchange their Sudanese pounds for US dollars. What will you do? How are you going to print new US dollars? And then he goes on, there is a current problem where everyone demands the dollar. Naturally, they have no confidence in the South Sudanese pounds. However, those who bring dollars from abroad do not contribute to our reserves. Do you know why? Because if they put the money in the bank and they want to draw their own money, there is a 2% withdrawal fee. The bank charges the dollar holders fee to take out their own money that they have entrusted to them. Why on earth would I put my money in a bank? Ministry of Finance and Planning should explore ways to regulate the use of the dollar. And what about you? Why don't you contribute to that? What you need to do, Governor, is to get to the roots of the problem and start asking the question and getting the answers of why in the first place are the people keeping their funds in their own homes or abroad or changing them to dollars and not putting them in the bank and fuel the economy. That's your first starting question. And don't have shortcuts. There are no shortcuts in that. These are government policies. You have got to revise your banking system. You have got to revise your banking regulations. You have got to create incentives, not change of currency, to create incentives for the citizens to put their money in the bank. They will never do that unless they have confidence in the banking system. And it is your job and the job of your government to create that confidence. Right now, it does not exist. Right. Another issue, Juba 8th of September, South Sudan, Japan signed grant agreement to expand Juba River Port. Very good news. It was signed by Ambassador Mayen Dud, the Undersecretary of South Sudan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who signed on behalf of the government. Where is the river transport? Where is the Ministry of Transport? Where is the Ministry of Water Resources? Where is the mayor of Juba? Do we have a board of directors or a river transport corporation? An independent one or part of the government? Who will contribute in the studies? The Japanese were very shrewd. They said after 11 years, the original plan cannot be used as it was. Therefore, the government of Japan decided to end the initial project and start a new project based on the planning, based on the current situation, he added. So we are back to the drawing board. We don't have an expansion of the port yet. We don't have a project yet. This is what the ambassador said, the Japanese ambassador. They are going back to the drawing board. That's the first observation. The second observation, the amount of the grant is 2,930,000 Japanese yen, not yuan. The yuan is not the currency of Japan. It is yen, Y-E-N. Do you know how much is the yen compared to the US dollars? One US dollar is equal 147 Japanese yen. Okay. Now, if you divide 2,930,000 by 147, this is $20,000. $20,000. Two and four zeros in front, not millions, thousands. What is that for? This can never be for the expansion of the port. This can only be a start for the studies. Unless the figure of 2,930,000 is wrong, or unless it is US dollars and not Japanese yen. For heaven's sake, give us a correction, whoever signed on that agreement, and give us the facts and involve the right ministries, not the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Has this grant been passed through the Council of Ministers? Has it been passed through the proper ministry in South Sudan? And a good man, James Bilal, in July 16th, he told us that only 7.74% of the population has access to grid electricity. And 7.2% of the household rely on renewable energy for cooking. The rest are left to the mercy of God and the woods and the chopping and the deforestation. The question is, why are we one of the very few countries in the world who have rivers and we don't have hydroelectric power? A very big question. If I were the president, I will form a committee right now. The Ministry of Electricity and Dams, the Ministry of Water Resources, and other ministries to research, why don't we have even a small dam of, I don't know, 15, 20, 50 megawatt generation? Why are the plans for the Sobat, which is the Baru section in Ethiopia. Yeah, if you put a dam there, we can generate probably 200, 250 megawatt, enough for the entire Eastern Nile. Beden and Fula, we can put generation plants there. And this could be because there is lack of confidence in the government now that they don't pay. The government of South Sudan contracts, takes, but does not pay back. These are not my words. These are facts. If you deny them, then you don't know the realities on the ground. So the idea of somebody coming as an investor and doing the installation and then putting it as a commercial enterprise, that's not going to happen. Nobody, fool or idiot or wise, is not going to bring money with that extent, over $1 billion to invest in electricity. So this has got to be a government project. We need to open those files and we need to go for hydroelectric power. Electric power is the main driver of development. If we don't have that, the rest is just talk. And my last point is actually the BRICS, BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And those are the member states that joined by January and will join by January 24. So it started as BRIC, and then South Africa joined, so it became BRICS. It is a grouping of the world economies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, formed by the 2020 addition of South Africa to the predecessor BRIC. BRICS was coined in 2001 by Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill to describe fast-growing economies that he predicted would collectively dominate the global economy by 2050. I hope we read that report again. The BRICS encompasses about 26.7% of the world land surface and 41.5% of the total population. Brazil, Russia, India, and China are among the world's 10 largest countries by population. All 5 states are members of the G20 with a combined nominal gross domestic product of $28.6 trillion, about 26.6 of the gross world product. Massive, massive. And let me continue so that we just bear this in mind. South Africa's foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, said that there were 12 countries interested in joining the initiative. We are not among them. South Sudan is not among them. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Algeria, Argentina, Mexico, and Nigeria. Those would like to join. This is going to be parallel to the dollar zone. Dollar zone, sterling zone. This is going to be a big challenge to the dollar zone and a big challenge to the dollar itself. At the end of October 2014, Brazil trimmed down its holdings of US government securities to 261 billion. India kept it down to 77.5 billion, China to 1.25 trillion, South Africa to 10.3 billion. And that is going to continue. The more the BRICS get strong, the less strong the dollar will be, and people are not going to put their securities in US dollars. Right. In addition, Afghanistan, Angola, Comoros, Congo, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Indonesia, Mexico, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Pakistan, Sudan, Syria, Tunisia, Turkey, Uganda, Uruguay, and Zimbabwe have expressed interest in membership of BRICS, only expressed interest. Morocco was alleged to have joined, but denied that it had applied. So we need to keep up with that. BRICS countries committed themselves to study the feasibility of a new common currency or similar at the 2023 BRICS summit in South Africa. If that happens, if a currency that will be a competitor to the dollar is produced, we are going to have bipolar economies in the world. Right. I think I will stop there, and I will see you in the third YouTube of this series, South Sudan on a Hot Tin Roof, probably within the coming few days. God bless you, and God bless South Sudan.